You know, they say your home is your castle. It's more than just wood and nails. It's the smell of coffee on a Tuesday morning, the scuff mark on the floor from when your kid learned to walk, the sunlight hitting the kitchen table at just the right angle. It's your sanctuary, your piece of the world. It takes about 7 minutes for a bulldozer to reduce a lifetime of memories to a pile of rubble. 7 minutes. I know, because I watched it happen. I stood there on the sidewalk, holding my daughter's hand, and watched a woman I only knew as the HOA Karen erase our home from the face of the earth. She thought she was untouchable. She thought her little fiefdom of rules and regulations made her a god, but she was wrong. She picked the wrong family to mess with. This isn't just a story about a house being torn down. This is a story about what happens when you push a person to the edge and they decide to build a new foundation from the rubble. Let me take you back to the beginning. 6 months ago. My wife, Sarah, our 7-year-old daughter, Chloe, and I had just moved into 1243 Maple Drive. It was our dream home. Not a mansion, mind you, but ours. We'd saved for a decade. Every brushstroke of paint, every blade of grass on the lawn felt like a victory. The Crestview Estates Homeowners Association was notorious. The rule book was thicker than a phone book from the 90s. Regulation fence height, approved shades of beige for the exterior, specific types of mailbox flowers. We laughed about it. We can handle a few rules, I told Sarah. It's a small price to pay for this. The president of the HOA was Brenda. Everyone called her the commissioner behind her back. Brenda was a platonic ideal of an HOA Karen. Hair cut sharp enough to slice cheese, oversized sunglasses, and a perpetual expression of someone who just smelled spoiled milk. Our first interaction was day 3. I was planting a rose bush, approved variety. I checked when her shadow fell over me. Article 14, Section 3. All new shrubbery requires a subcommittee on landscaping aesthetics form, submitted in triplicate with color swatches prior to installation. That bush is in clear violation. I smiled. I filled out the form. I jumped through the hoop. That was the pattern. A notice about our garbage can be invisible from the street an hour before pickup. A warning about Chloe's bicycle left on the driveway for 10 minutes. Each time, a tiny paper cut. Annoying but not fatal. We were riding a small, annoying wave of petty bureaucracy, but the big wave was coming. The turning point was the oak tree, that a magnificent 100-year-old giant in our backyard. It's why we bought the house. Chloe had a tire swing on it. It was our family's landmark. Then we got a letter. Dead tree. Hazard. Must be removed immediately. Failure to comply will result in fines and corrective action by the HOA. Bill to the homeowner. The tree wasn't dead. An arborist we paid $500 confirmed it was perfectly healthy. We appealed. We presented the report. The HOA board, led by Brenda, dismissed it. Our landscaper disagrees, she said, without providing a name or a report. The fine started. $50 a day. Then $100. It was a shakedown. The emotional wave was turning from annoyance to genuine fear. The pressure was mounting. We hired a lawyer, a nice guy named Frank. He sent letters. The HOA's lawyer sent longer, more expensive-sounding letters back. The legal fees started piling up. Sarah couldn't sleep. I'd find her at 3 a.m., staring out the window at that tree, crying. The sanctuary was becoming a prison. This was the low point. The feeling of helplessness against a system that seemed designed to crush you. And then the unthinkable. I was on a business trip. A Thursday. Sarah called. Her voice a frantic, hysterical mess I could barely understand. They're here. They're bulldozers. They're not just at the tree. They're at the house. They're saying the whole property is condemned. You have to come home. Now. I've never driven so fast in my life. The world was a blur. Condemned? That made no sense. The house was perfect. The inspection was flawless. My mind was racing, trying to find a logical explanation where there was none. I screeched to a halt at the end of our street. It was blocked by an orange construction fence. And beyond it, I saw it. It wasn't just a tree. The entire side of our house was gone. The living room, Chloe's bedroom upstairs, just open to the elements like a dollhouse. And in the middle of it all, standing with a clipboard and a smug smile, was Brenda. I stumbled out of the car. Sarah was on the curb, holding a sobbing Chloe, surrounded by a few of our neighbors who looked on in horror. The sound was industrial. The roar of the diesel engine, the crunch of wood and plaster, the shattering of glass. Our photos, Chloe's toys. I walked up to Brenda. My voice was quiet, shaking. What have you done? Emergency structural condemnation. The unauthorized root structure of the non-compliant tree compromised the foundation of the dwelling. It was an imminent danger to the community. The board exercised its right for immediate demolition. You'll be receiving the bill for the demolition services. She picked the wrong family to mess with. In that moment, watching my daughter's home being eaten by a machine, something in me broke. But it wasn't a break into pieces. It was a break open. A cold, clear, focused fury. The fear was gone, replaced by a single, burning thought. I will destroy you. We stayed in a hotel that night. The three of us in one room, surrounded by silence. But I wasn't silent inside. I was working. This is where the story changes. This is the first payoff. The moment we stop being victims and start being architects. You see, Brenda made one critical mistake. She assumed we were just another young family she could bully. She didn't know what I did for a living. I'm a forensic data analyst. My job is to find patterns, to dig up information people want to keep buried. I find truths. While Sarah comforted Chloe, I was on my laptop. The emergency condemnation order was a fiction. There was no city order, no permits filed for demolition that day. It was pure, illegal, authoritarian overreach. But I knew going to the police would be slow. Brenda would have her lies ready. I needed something bigger. A trap she would walk right into. I called my lawyer, Frank. I didn't tell him my whole plan. I just said, play along, be desperate, negotiate, act like we're broken. And he did. He called the HOA's lawyer, sounding defeated. My client are willing to discuss a settlement to make this go away. They just want to be able to rebuild. And Brenda, arrogant as ever, took the bait. She agreed to a meeting at the HOA management office. She thought she was coming to accept our surrender. Before I tell you what happened in that room, let me pause for a second. This whole nightmare taught me something invaluable. Knowledge is power, but organized knowledge is a weapon. The tools I use to uncover the truth aren't just for professionals. I put together a simple guide on the channel page called the Digital Detective Kit. Basic, legal ways to research public records, cross-reference information, and protect yourself from predatory organizations. It's free, no strings, because what happened to me shouldn't happen to anyone. Check the link in the description. Now, back to the meeting. The meeting room was cold and sterile. Brenda was there with her lawyer. She had that same smug smile. We sat. Frank, looking appropriately grim, started, "My client are prepared to drop all legal action in exchange for the HOA covering the rebuild costs and a modest additional sum." Brenda's lawyer began to lay out a pathetic, low-ball offer. I let him talk. I waited for the perfect moment. Then I gently placed my phone on the table. "That's a very interesting offer," I said, "but I think we need to address the real issue first. The fraud." The room went silent. Brenda's smile vanished. "I beg your pardon?" she snapped. "I've been doing some digging, Brenda. Or should I say Barbara? That's the name on the incorporation documents for Crestview Property Management, LLC, isn't it? The company the HOA pays $5,000 a month for landscaping and maintenance. The company that, curiously, has only one employee. You." I tapped my phone. "And then there's the emergency demolition. The one carried out by Apex Demolition, which was incorporated just last month. Its registered agent? Your nephew, Kevin. The bill you sent me for $75,000? That's going to be paid from HOA funds to a company you control for a demolition that was completely illegal. I leaned forward. This was a second, targeted shock. But the tree wasn't even the beginning, was it? This is what you do. You look for vulnerable families. You create a problem, a violation. You levy fines. You force them into costly fights. And when they're broken, you offer to buy their house for pennies on the dollar through a shell corporation. You've done it twice before on this very street. 1221 Maple and 1255 Maple. You're not just a bully, Brenda. You're a con artist. Her face was white as a sheet. She had no words. The trap was sprung. The state attorney general got all my evidence. Brenda was charged with fraud, embezzlement, and criminal mischief. The HOA was dissolved. Our house was rebuilt, paid for by the HOA's insurance, and the restitution Brenda was ordered to pay. But the real victory wasn't the new house. It was the day the new oak tree sapling arrived. Chloe and I planted it in the exact same spot. The neighborhood kids helped. The street felt different, lighter. The shadow was gone. So why am I telling you this? To give you hope. To tell you that when you're faced with a Karen, a bully, a corrupt system, you have power. Your power is the truth. Your power is your resilience. Don't just get mad. Get smart. Get organized. Document everything. Know your rights. If you're fighting your own battle right now, leave a comment below. Let's support each other. And if this story resonated with you,